Hey everybody, so here we are at 1.4, the properties of real numbers. Last year we made a foldable of this and it kind of flapped up and down and it told us all sorts of properties. This year we're going to make a foldable again, but it's going to look a little bit different. So you should have already glued this in and you should have cut right here, right here, right here. So you're going to have a flap for associative property of addition, associative property of multiplication, so on and so forth. So this video should be pretty short. But you're going to do a bunch of pausing and making sure that you are writing stuff down, right? So here we go. Associative property. Under the addition, my recommendation is that as it opens up to the left, you write something to the effect of grouping doesn't matter. And since we're in the addition one, grouping doesn't matter for addition. Then on the right, give yourself an example. So here's what I see. We've got the A plus B plus C equals A plus parentheses B plus C. So really what this says is we've got a party going on and A and B show up first and then C comes. Well, it's the same party as if A comes later, if B and C kind of showed up together and A comes later. This you can group anything. This I use a lot when I'm trying to find groups of 10. Like if I'm adding fast, I just want to get groups of 10, and you can kind of group stuff together. So here 1 plus 2 and then adding the 3 is the same as doing 2 plus 3 then adding the 1. You still get 6. So that's what you can do. If you want to make up your own example, great. Now I'm just going to say let's go over to the right, and then you've got an associative property of multiplication. Same thing, grouping doesn't matter for multiplication. Now generally we should never ever use an X for multiplication, but here I'm just letting you know what I'm talking about. So you could group the A and B and then multiply by C, same as grouping the B and C and then multiplying by A. So this, I use this one if like these two came up to be really nice, or if the second set came up to be nice. It doesn't matter which ones you group together. You still get the same answer. Pause if you need to. I'm moving on. Identity property. I have my school identity. If I cut my hair, that does not change who I am. It just makes me look a little different. Well, the identity property of addition, what can you add that doesn't change anything? That would be 0. So your additive identity is 0. Here are a couple of examples. Your multiplicative identity, so this is what you should write on the two little flaps, and then inside, what doesn't change a multiplication problem? That would be 1. So A times 1 gives you A, 5 times 1 gives you 5. When you multiply by 1, doesn't change anything. Pause if you need to. Next one, commutative. This one, you see me do it all the time. I take my hands and drive like the little grandma in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, like all over the place. You can do A plus B, B plus A. Doesn't matter what order they are in. So commutative is order. I would put on the inside, doesn't matter for addition. And then over on your multiplication one, doesn't matter for multiplication. Order isn't important. So 3 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 3. Multiplication, A times B is the same as B times A. We saw this the other day when you had like 5 more than X. 5 more than X you can write as, you could do that as 5 plus X, but you could also do that as X plus 5. It doesn't matter. Is there a commutative property for subtraction? Is 5 less than X the same as X less than 5? And my answer there would be no. Same with multiplication. I can put the number before the parentheses, after the parentheses. It doesn't matter what order they go in. So pause and write what you need to in there. And the last one, 0 property of multiplication. Oh, I guess this isn't last. One of the last ones. Anything times 0 is 0. That one hopefully is easy. So this is what you write on the flap. Here's your examples. Now we're to the last one, distributive property. I love the distributive property. This is the one, it will look like this. A times B, but the A also has to multiply through the C. You guys were really good at this one. But sometimes what will happen is when they're just saying, which property is this? You won't, when I do this, I get 5x plus 35, but they won't necessarily list it like that. They might write it like this: 5 times x plus 5 times 7. And then you know that this you could simplify to 35. We also did this one as a box last year. So you don't have to write this down. I'm just kind of reminding you of what we did. So if we had 4 over here, and then we had 2x minus 7 over here. Remember how we did, so 4 times 2x gives me 8x, and 4 times negative 7 gives me negative 28. So when I distribute through, this was actually 4 times 2x minus 7. So the 4 times the 2x gives me 8x. The 4 times the minus or negative 7 gives me negative 28. There we go. So my answer is 8x minus 28. That is all of the notes you need to do now. There are 3 vocabulary words that we're going to add in the morning, but those are the properties you need. Then I guess, gosh, I should have looked through this a little better. Let's try naming a couple of properties and see how you do. What is this one? The order is switching. That means commutative property of addition. Good. C times 1 equals C. Multiplicative identity. 23 times 0 equals 0. 0 property of multiplication. xy times 6, or 6x times y. The grouping is changing, so that's associative. And 3 times 4 equals 4 times 3. Commutative property of multiplication. So we'll do a couple of review things in class, see if I can make you think. See you tomorrow.